Take this question, give it some time, then I will solve it. Let's see. Which of the following is correct? In a closed economy, fiscal policy is more effective, which means when G increases, how much will be the increase in Y? Whichever thing will lead to more increase in Y, that will be more effective. Okay. Okay, read. Smaller the induced change in interest rate, smaller the responsiveness of investment. Larger the induced change in interest rate, smaller the responsiveness of investment, smaller the induced change and larger the induced change. Just read it and then let's do this question. Okay, let's begin together. So consider this. I've tried to explain as much as possible. Consider this equation y is equal to c plus I plus g. I'm just opening up this c bar plus small cy plus I bar minus bi and g. I'm trying to solve this for the value of y and I will get a bar minus bi upon 1 minus c. This is my goods market. Equilibrium. Now, because the question is asking what would happen whenever there is a responsiveness of investment, which means it is asking about what happens when there is any change on B. And secondly, it is asking the smaller the induced change in the interest rate, which means how much change in the interest rate would be caused. Now, just think about this. See, we know that we have this IS curve and LM curve. I don't even have to do mathematically, but just think about this. See, whenever G increases, my IS curve will shift to the right. This will cause increase in the value of the output. But we know that because when G increases and IS shifts to the right, there is increase in the interest rate. Actually, because there is increase in the interest rate, this causes the investment to decrease. Exactly, this is your crowding out effect. Isn't it? When investment decreases, that's your crowding out effect. Now, imagine a situation where interest rate does not change. Supposedly your LM is flat. This is your LM. Interest rate does not change. It does not increase. If interest rate does not change because my LM is flat, what would be the increase in the level of the output? This was my new equilibrium E. It will go to point like E double dash and my output will go from Y to Y double dash. So output will increase by more amount. So if there is no change in the interest rate, there is no crowding out effect. If there is no crowding out effect, output increases by more amount. So what I can say? I can say that as long as my LM is flatter, then the same increase in IS, same increase in Y will cause more increase in output because there will be less change in the interest rate. So less crowding out effect. So the smaller is the induced change. This is coming because G increased, that is causing interest rate to change. It's an induced change. So the smaller the induced change in I, the bigger the effect on Y because the lesser the crowding out effect. So that's the first point. I should have smaller induced change in interest rate. Now think about the second thing. The second thing is the responsiveness of investment to these changes. Suppose I tell you that interest rate has increased, but I tell you that B is small, which means that even when interest, so what is I? I is I bar minus BI, isn't it? So this B tells me how investment will change when interest rate changes. It is by minus B. This is the slope of this investment curve. Now imagine that this B is very, very small, 0.0004. Imagine that. So if this B is small, no doubt when interest rate will increase, investment will decrease. But it will only decrease by the amount of this B. And if this B is small, then we will see less changes in investment. So less crowding out effect. So if my LM is flatter, then there is less crowding out effect. Flatter LM means if there is less change on interest rate. If interest rate does not increases, then crowding out effect will be low, because no change in interest rate means I will still invest, right? There is no crowding out effect at all. The second thing here is that if there is smaller B, which means, okay, when G increased, investment decreased because interest rate increased. But this is less because investment was not very responsive to the interest rate because of low B. Are you getting it? So lower the B and flatter the LM curve, or lesser the change on interest rate, the more effective the fiscal policy is. So the answer will be A. I've tried to do this mathematically also, you can do it. So this is your goods market equilibrium. Y is equal to C plus I plus G. You get the value of Y here. Then this is your money market. M by P is equal to KY minus HI. You get the value of output from here also. This is your money market equilibrium. Then you just go ahead and find the value of interest rate from one market and put it in the other market. So I find the value of interest rate from goods market. Put the value of that interest rate in the money market. Now this is the equilibrium of the goods and the money market. Equilibrium of the IS and the LM curve. We have done this in class. Right. This is that equilibrium. Now this equilibrium consists of Y and A bar. A bar had those autonomous things. It had G in it also. So now I'm asking how Y will change when G will change, which means how Y will change when A bar will change. So I will differentiate Y with respect to G or A bar, and I will get this equation. And this is something like this. This is it's called the fiscal policy multiplier. We have done this in class. You should remember the value, in fact, by now. This is the fiscal policy multiplier in the presence of the LM curve. And if you see, this fiscal policy is effective, the higher is this value, higher is this multiplier. So a given change in G causes more change in Y, the bigger this value is. And this value, it depends on B, where B is what? B is how sensitive investment is to interest rate. This is this B. Then this is the slope of the LM curve. So it's dependent on the slope of the LM curve. And then this is your 1 minus C, which is marginal propensity to save. Okay. So the more the MPS, the lesser the multiplier. The less the denominator, the more the multiplier. So the less the MPS, the more the multiplier. The less the B, the more the multiplier. the less K by H, the more the multiplier. Right? These are the three things coming in the denominator. The lesser the denominator, the more the multiplier, the more the value. Now, this also implies that I'm giving you all the conclusions. You should know from all aspects. This implies that the more the MPC, the more the multiplier. And this implies that because I want K by H ratio to be decreasing, this will decrease when H will increase. So the more the H, the more the multiplier. The less the K, the more the multiplier. So just write all these statements, okay? When is fiscal policy more effective? A fiscal policy is more effective if, one, marginal propensity to consume increases, marginal propensity to save decreases. Second, investments responsiveness to interest rate decreases. B is lower. Third, so your M by P was KY minus HI, na? And I want either lower K or higher H. So more responsive money demand to interest rate, less responsive money demand to income, because I wanted less K. So this, and otherwise less K by H. Okay. This is your slope of the LM curve. Or you can also say the flatter the LM curve. I don't think anything more than this can come in exam. We have discussed all ways in which fiscal policy can be effective. The flatter the LM curve, the lesser the value of K, the more the value of H, the lesser the value of B, the more the value of small c, the less the value of small s. These are all the ways in which fiscal policy will be more effective. I hope this is making sense to you. Very good question. Okay, so the answer to this question is A.